So downloading things from places like Envato or Motion Array can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes they're just going to come with a bunch of these .settings files, or sometimes it's going to be a .DRA folder. Those are going to be a little bit more complicated than what you're used to if you're used to like Premiere Pro. Since it's so new, people aren't quite understanding how to actually make it easier for the user to install. They are just making it easier for themselves to make. That is how I'm interpreting it anyway. Interpret it however you feel. You'll have a folder kind of like this one. You're just going to extract it. Going to give you the file here with the .setting files. And then what you want to do is locate templates. This is where your .drfx files are going to go. And you can also make folders in here to store .settings files. So I'm going to open up my Davinci presets. This is just where I have my like pre-made folder structures so that I can just drag and drop my files into here and immediately make a .drfx folder. So in this case, we are looking at a transition. So let's go over here to transitions and make sure everything is spelled the exact same way. You want to be inside of a folder called edit and then one of these four. Doesn't have to have all four of these, but as long as you just have the folder that has the effect type that you have, for example, transitions or titles, then that's all you need. And in here, you can actually make another folder as well. And you can just rename this. In this case, this is from Envato Elements. So Envato Elements. And in here then, you can copy this folder with all those .settings files. So we'll copy this, or you can cut it. And we'll paste it into here. And we'll just make sure it's all transferred okay. And then we're just going to rename this so that it's a unique name. I'm just going to get rid of the dashes in case it causes any problems. All we have to do now is go back out to your main folder, Davinci presets in my case. Right click on edit, compress to zip file, and then we can rename this to whatever we want. Now I'm just going to rename it to LL Motion Shake. And then if you see your file extensions, you can just delete the ZIP and put in DRFX. And then click yes, you will want to change it. If you don't see the extensions like DRP or DRB and then DRFX, go up here to view, show, and then file name extensions. Make sure that's checked. And now all we have to do is just double click on this file and it will open up into Resolve and it'll ask us to install it. Just like that, we can see install and wait around a second and I think you're good to go. Sometimes Davinci is going to have to crash if it's fully open, or sometimes even if it's just in this state, it'll just crash. But let's just go ahead and open up this empty project and just take a look at our files over here. So we can see Envato Elements. I already had something for it. If we open this up, we will see LL Shake Motion Transitions. I have this original folder here. This is one that I had made a while ago. That's why I have these .settings files to begin with. This is the one I had made, and this is the one we just made. So we can see that it does work just fine. However, not every single time you get something from Envato, it's going to actually be made for the edit page. So make sure that you read all the documentation. Don't just see a .setting file and just assume that it's going to be an edit page effect. Occasionally, .settings files are used in Fusion as well as a macro is what they call it. And the effect should tell you that in the folders. Let's say that you have a .DRA file now that has an effect inside of it. You downloaded this from Envato, and they gave you a .DRA file with some instructions. All you really have to do with this .DRA file is open up Resolve, wait for it to load up into the project manager. All you really have to do with this is drag and drop it, like this entire folder, into Resolve. And there you go. You have your effect in there. Inside of this folder, you can see a .drp file. This is Davinci Resolve's project files. That is not what you're going to put into Resolve. That is going to mess it up. You want to put the entire folder into Resolve, and that's going to cause it to load in everything that it needs. But let's say that putting it to a zip file and making that all is a little bit too much. Let's just go ahead and hop back over to that folder that I showed you at the very beginning of the video. To find this, all you have to do is type in your search bar down here, %appdata%, and it will just bring up your roaming folder. Open up Blackmagic, open up Davinci Resolve, go down here to support, and then look for Fusion, and this is where all of your Fusion or even edit page effects are going to be sitting. Down here in templates is where we were earlier. This is where all those .drfx files were. Let's say we don't want that. Let's say we want to install it a different way. Well, remember that folder structure that I made earlier? All you have to do is take this same folder structure that you have right here, just copy it, just copy, paste it into here. And now, if you just put the .settings files into here in the same way that you did before, then you don't even have to zip it. It's just in there already. Because that's all that these are. These are just zipped versions of this folder. Hope you learned a lot. Hope you had a great time learning today. Any questions, please leave them down below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.